Hello, this is Catherine Matthews. I'm the Director of Assessment and Research in Everett Public Schools, and today I'm going to be talking about how you create a scoreboard report in Performance Matters. So what you are seeing right here is a principal dashboard. If you are a teacher, the landing page that you will find yourself on for my dashboard is a picture or pictures of all the students in your classes. So it is the same procedure, however, so though you are seeing a different landing page, you're going to essentially do the same steps. All right, so we are going to start on the left side menu where it says reports. Click on that and you'll see all of the reports that are available to you. We have on our website a video of student item analysis and baseball card report, and today we're going to focus on scoreboard. So if you click on reports, click on scoreboard. And in the baseball card report, when you open up the report, you have a list of all the students who are assigned to you. In scoreboard, you're actually looking at the organization, and depending on your level of security, you'll see a different level of detail. So here we have Everett School District with 20,239 students, and then we have each of the regions, and then we have each of the schools, and then each of the teachers within a school. And they are X'd out because I'm in demo mode to protect people's privacy. All right, so I'm going to start with a question because that's really the best way to start when you're looking at data, because there is an infinite amount of data and you can spend a lot of time sort of spinning around and finding out very interesting things without ever finding information that will guide either your school improvement or your instruction. So maybe one of the things that I'm interested in is our trend over time of students in math performance. All right. So notice that on this scoreboard page, unlike the baseball card, you don't have a manage columns spot. You do have a filter, so you can filter your data by all the same things that you could filter in the baseball card. But you don't have a managed columns report, so you're not adding columns that have demographics. And there's a very good reason why. I will show you here. So let's start with the state results, and I want to look at this last year, 22-23 math. And even though I have 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, I really want them in the same column. I'll show you why here. Let's open 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade here. So if I add them by grade level, notice that I get a different column with each grade level. So there are going to be some blank rows because this teacher at this school did not have 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. It's possible that this staff member might be a school psychologist or a counselor. Or this could be a school that looks like a high school, possibly. All right, so when you pick by grade level, you get different data in each column. I don't want that. X these out. What I want is, I want to know in 2023, regardless of the grade level, how did they score? So instead, I'm going to go to the 22-23 folder all the way down here to highest score, and I'm going to put in the score. I can put in the achievement level as well. They should look essentially the same though. So let's go with just achievement level 1, 2, 3, 4. Now notice up here, state assessments, SBA, high score in 2023, achievement level. That's what you're seeing in this column. And you're seeing it for all students. So I might look at my scores and say, in comparison to other schools, I'm doing well in one area, or I'm doing less well, and I want to examine it more. I want to understand more of what's going on. With Scoreboard, instead of using those managed columns that you use in baseball card, you will use this 3 dots here next to the plus sign. So this +1 means there's 1 column, and you got it by hitting the plus sign, okay? And it is for all students. If you hit these 3 dots, now you have the option of either adding the 1 column for all, 3 columns for genders. So here you see all students, gender male, gender female. We don't need 2 all columns, so I'm going to get rid of that. You could also click this 3 dots, and you could pick every demographic. So add and compare all of the groups. So the pill tells you what the column is reporting. Gender male versus gender female. That's another all column. SWD, students with disabilities, yes. ED, that stands for economically disadvantaged. It's a national product, so they use a term more often used on the East Coast. This would be our free and reduced lunch qualified students. LEP, also a term we don't necessarily use often, but this would be our ML students. I'm going to take out the male and female because they were back there. And then we have each of our ethnicities. All right. That's a lot of data. And I might not be interested in all of that data. For example, I might really want to focus on program and race and ethnicity. So I have here SWD, yes, students with disabilities, yes. And I can compare it to the all. I can see there are more students in the red. I can also compare free and reduced lunch students and special ed students, and I see that there's less red with our free and reduced lunch students, slightly more with our LEP. I can also add filters and change data. So this is our all right here. And it is not filtered at all. It's every single student. So if I click on the add filter and I go to SWD, I can pick SWD no, hit apply. And now I have a column that is not special ed and special ed. Now I'm comparing the performance of a group and its opposite in the same category. So I can see we have 23% of students not in special ed at level 1 and in special ed 63%, right? So I can change these filters even though the program will put out, you know, the specific filters for each group that there is a demographic for. I can also get rid of them. If I want to go back to all students, all I have to do is X out that filter. I can also combine filters. So, for example, perhaps what I want to know is there a difference between the performance of students who are in special ed, or actually let's do free and reduced lunch qualified students. Students who are free and reduced qualified and not by a specific maybe ethnic group. So let's pick, first of all, the group, and I'm going to pick white students, Caucasian here. So now we have yes, free and reduced lunch, and their ethnicity is Caucasian. And I'm going to use this students with disabilities column to make my other column. So I'll get rid of that, students with disabilities, and add a filter here. And this time I want to do free and reduced lunch, no, and ethnicity, white. So now these two columns compare low-income students who are Caucasian to not low-income students who are Caucasian. So here we have in level 1, 15%, in level 2, 22%, and over here it's 38 and 27. And so it's really easy to see differences, right? It's easy to focus in on groups of students and or areas, right? Because we have selected math, SBA. Now, this isn't the only measure of math, right? So I could put math in our search bar here, and I can see that there are many other math measures. There are interim assessments. There are end of unit assessments. There are, where's my iReady folder? There's iReady data. To pull in my spring iReady data. I'm just going to pull over the, oops, not the scale score. Did not mean to do that. Actually, I think I will. All right, and I'm going to pull over scale score twice because I am comparing free and reduced lunch and ethnicity, and now I can put in those filters here as well. So this is yes, Caucasian, and this is not free and reduced lunch, Caucasian. And now I can look at, I'm going to get rid of all here, just to make this easier to see. Now I am comparing SBA to SBA and iReady Math Spring to Math Spring, right? But I also might want to make sure these are in the right order, right? Because I have no and yes, and I have yes and no, so that might be confusing. I'll just slide that over. So more green, less green. More green and blue, less green and blue. I am curious though, if I slide this over here. So now I have the not free and reduced lunch white students, but I have two different metrics. Is there anything that I can see from this? This one is very interesting. By the way, you can click on hide rows without scores to tighten this up a little bit. So here's an example where it looks like the below standard is a little less in iReady than it was on the SBA here for not free and reduced lunch and Caucasian. But then when we come over here, well, we're seeing the same thing. So we have a little bit of an elevation in scores. All right, so the difference between scoreboard and baseball card is we're starting with the organization, we're finding our metrics, and then we're filtering the metrics on each row, okay? But we can drill down. So I can look at my school, and then I can look at a teacher, and then I can look at a class, and then I can look at individual students. So this is the exact opposite of baseball card, because the baseball card, all the students are listed in that first column. And then you can add metrics, and then you can add filters, and then you can aggregate it up to any of the demographics that you want. So you can compare them by removing the student's name. This is drilling down. So we start with the organizational level, and we drill down from district to region to school to teacher to class to student. But then we can still see that information. So let me give you another example where this might come in handy. So I'm going to add this time the math SBA again, but this time I'm going to add the 21 and 22. So this really only pertains to third and fourth graders, because I'm impersonating elementary principal. Third and fourth grade teach students in 22 and fourth and fifth grade students in 23. So I'm going to take my third graders in 21, 22, and I'm going to put their achievement level in there. But these students were fourth graders in 23. So now this is the case for using the individual grades rather than the highest score, because I don't want the scores all in one column. I want to be able to compare third to fourth grade. Okay. So this is not a matched cohort, right? Because students change schools, students come and go. But I can see if I'm a Region 2 principal, I can see how my school compares and also how I improved, right? So this is 22 third graders, this is 23 fourth graders, right? I could also do third grade to third grade, excuse me, to see how we're doing, just so it's a grade level comparison. And even though I'm using different grade levels, I still can use my filtering. So if I, for example, have been very, very focused on my limited English proficiency students, I could add a student filter for yes to this column, add a student filter for no to this column. So in third grade, I'm going third to fourth. So I want to add a filter for yes, limited English proficiency. So these are both yes from third grade to fourth grade. I can compare my performance one year to the next and see how students are doing trend-wise. I also could add in my 2023 test score levels and just do LEPS. So in third grade in my school, how are we doing over time with third graders who are limited English proficiency? So this is a really flexible way to look at the organization and drill down to students. It is similar to the baseball card, but again, we start with the organization rather than students. And we don't have columns of demographics because we add the demographic to the metric. But we still have access to all the same data. Now, if you are a secondary staff member, close this up here, you probably saw different folders. So notice that in the folder column, there are no PSAT scores, no SAT, no advanced placement. And that is because when you sign in, you are able to only see students who are assigned to you from the security system in the program. So if you're a principal, you see all students in your school. If you're a teacher, you see students who are assigned to your classes. If you are counselor or OTPT, then you're assigned to students that you serve, basically. So notice what happens if on our student filter over the organizational level, we say, I want to, actually, let's do this. I'm going to take this data out. I'm going to change the filter here over the students and say, I only want to look at current fifth graders. Actually, no, I'm going to pick kindergarten. So notice all the folders that are available there. I'm going to click on kindergarten, hit apply. And now I have half the folders. And that's because kindergartners haven't taken the SBA. They haven't taken the WCAS. And so that data is not visible because it doesn't pertain to the students that you are assigned and the ones you filtered for. So I'm going to undo that and we'll see all of our filters back. So Scoreboard, very powerful way to look at your data, especially if you are trying to identify areas that you might want to celebrate and or improve in. If you would like additional training in this, please do not hesitate to call our office at 4051 or email me at cmatthews@everettsd.org. I'm happy to spend some time with you as you build your first scoreboard and support you as you use the system. Thank you for watching the video.